I had to ride about 4 kilometers on State Highway 1. There was a good shoulder, all the way, so the traffic was not a problem, but it was very noisy. I turned onto Mataroa Road and the climbing started straight away, but the peace and quiet with some beautiful views set the tone for the rest of the day. The great thing about doing a good climb is you get a lovely descent. This one was no exception, taking us all the way Mataroa. I deviated from the route slyly here, to take a photo of the beautiful St. George's Church. Until now I'd been on a cycle touring route heading towards Ohakune. The route went through Mataroa, but I backtracked over the bridge and carried on along Rongoiti Road to Koka Road, where I decided it was time for morning coffee. Koka Road was beautiful, with some good climbs but always followed with long gentle descents and great scenery. This was to be the pattern for the day, which made for lovely riding. This was vehicle number 2 since leaving Mataroa. The roads were so busy and people say they won't ride roads because of the traffic. I suppose it depends on which road you ride. It shows how little traffic this road gets, when they have to put up a sign reminding you there may be other vehicles on the road. The kowhai trees were in bloom and I managed to get a photo of a tui in a tree close to the road. Then it was lunchtime and I found a spot with a lovely view down the valley. As you've seen, Pohonui Road was amazing, sidling around the side of the valley with gentle ups and downs. I think it was my favorite section of the day's ride. At Turakina Valley Road I turned left and onto Tarsiel for the rest of the ride to Hunterville. This young man caught and went past me as I was crawling my way up the 10 to 14% gradients at 6 km per hour, but I caught him on the downhill and he was cruising along at 16 km per hour. At the bottom of the hill, houses started to appear as I entered Hunterville and made for the station hotel. The Hunterville township had a 2013 population of 429. Founded in 1884, it is said to be named after the Member of Parliament George Hunter, who placed a survey peg on the site where the settlement was to grow. The railway arrived in 1887, and by 1896 the population was 546, larger than it would be a century later. The post office and maternity hospital closed in 1989, as did 3 banks in the 1990s. Many services are now provided by or from Martin. Tourism has provided some new business. The station hotel my home for the night. What a pleasant evening I had here, with a lovely lamb shank and wine for dinner. I leave the station hotel fully fed and rested, ready for another great day on the bike. I have about 7 kilometers on State Highway 1 before turning off onto Vinegar Hill Road. Once on Vinegar Hill Road I dropped down to and crossed the Rangetike River and climbed up out of the river valley, but turned off onto Sandon Block Road just before the top. Sandon Road turns out to be one of those roads that is a delight to ride, with lovely gradients going up and down, along with the ever-important views. For the next few kilometers on Mangamako Road, the council had tipped a truckload of gravel on any sections of the road that were getting too muddy. It made for interesting riding, especially on some of the corners. With roads and scenery like I had, morning coffee time came around at what seemed a very short time. Once again I managed to find a spot with a nice view. I continued on Mangamako Road, which became more of a main road, and I followed it all the way to Rangiwahia Road. I had a half-hearted magpie attack climbing one of the hills. In May 1885, the Pemberton Small Farms Association took up the Pemberton block of 10,000 acres, 4,047 hectares, in this valley. They faced isolation and a dense bush of giant matai, mare, rimu, totatra and kahikatea trees. Their first task was to clear the bush. By 1888, there were 21 whare, 4 sawn timber houses and an accommodation house. In 1889, the first post office opened and did not close until 1896 when the new Rangiwahia School opened. In 1892, the first general store in the district opened, near the butcher and the blacksmith, and a cricket club was formed. In 1893, the hotel opened. In 7 years Pemberton grew from a campsite to be the district center. However, by 1895, the temporary village had served its purpose. Later settlers had developed the nearby surveyed town of Rangiwahia, and it was now the center of the community. Like so many other transitory settlements that flourished in those early days of New Zealand's development, Pemberton Village eventually became yet another ghost town. Rangiwahia has a lovely little community camping area, with toilets, showers, a covered area and power points for e-bikes and devices. How good is that? Back on the road I was treated to more great views and riding as I made my way to Awiston Campground. The final run down to the campground, alongside the very deep Mangawharaiki River Gorge. I accidentally booked the cabin for 3 people, hence the extra bed. Rather a letdown from the station hotel with wine and lamb shank for tea. Tonight it's just freeze-dried and no wine. It was a cool misty start, but it didn't take long to warm up. The climb up to Mangaweka Village and Duke's Roadhouse for 2 coffees and a full breakfast took care of that. After breakfast I doubled back, past the campground and turned into Komoot Valley Road and stopped to look at the old power station, generator house and dam. Some sweet riding took us to Potaka Road that descended down to the Komoot River, then we had a really good climb out the other side, with great views up the river valley. That's the tractor we saw on the first day. At the top of the climb I turned left onto Omatane South Road, which gave me a wonderful long descent to the Rangitike River with its impressive bridge. Two young boys had their side-by-side parked on the bridge, dropping rocks out of bags into the river, to see how big the splash was. Once over the bridge I had to make the decision whether to have lunch before the climb or at the top. I decided at the top, where I could have a view. Let the climbing begin. At the top I found the perfect lunch spot, with a nice view. From here it was all downhill to State Highway 1 and the 7 kilometers ride to Taihape. Once again with a good shoulder all the way, it was just the noise that wasn't very pleasant. main street of Taihape, I turn off and go to Wren Street and the Gumtree Motorhome Park where the van was parked and made a lovely coffee.